Coming up on today's edition of Warriors Today, we got a loaded show for you. An ESPN NBA insider gave his insights on how Golden State gets back. How do they win their fifth NBA championship with Steph Curry and Draymond Green? We'll dive into that, as well as a Jonathan Kuminga contract update. We know what Jonathan Kuminga wants, and it's a lot of money. But now we have a little bit of an insight as to what Golden State is willing to give Jonathan Kuminga at this point in time. We know he hits 2025 restricted free agency. We'll dive into all of that and what I think Jonathan Kuminga deserves on the back half of today's show. But before we do, guys, it's a new month. That means we're in a new challenge with the rest of our NBA channels here at Chat Sports. And luckily, we're in the lead. As far as subs gained in the month of September, Golden State Warriors Today, proudly at the number one spot, but not by much. Only 24 ahead of those frauds over at 76ers now. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel to never miss a moment surrounding your Golden State Warriors, as we're less than a month from Golden State Warriors training camp. Subscribe to the channel. With Stephen Curry signing a one-year, $62.6 million contract extension that keeps him in Golden State through the 2026-27 NBA season, there's only one goal in mind, right? Winning a championship. Now, how does Golden State get back to championship contention status? How do they get back to the glory that they were only at 2 seasons ago? ESPN's Zach Lowe gives us a little bit of insight as to how Golden State is going to operate in order to get back to championship contender status. Now, Zach Lowe was asked early on in this little interview that he had. He was talking on a podcast, and he was asked if Golden State's title window is closed. His answer, in short, was probably. That's unfortunate, right? I mean, at this point, Golden State is fairly far removed from the team that we saw 2 years ago. Obviously, you lose Klay Thompson, and he wasn't really the player last season that he was on that championship run. Andrew Wiggins has heavily regressed, and you lose a couple more pieces around the margins. So Zach Lowe probably thinks that this Warriors title window has come and it has gone, with 4 championships coming to Golden State. Very good thing. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But here's more of what Zach Lowe had to say about how the Golden State Warriors get back to championship contender status with the last couple of years of Steph Curry's career looming. It's going to take a home run, a lightning strike, something like the Spurs got with drafting Kawhi Leonard toward the end of Tim Duncan's prime. This is what happens to great legends who stay with one team. You win a lot, and while you're winning a lot, you draft at the bottom of the first round, so you're probably not going to get any stars there, and then the core gets old. And then it's hard to transition from old to great again while the old guys are still in the league, and that's where the Warriors are. Now, as far as Golden State's opportunity to win a title right now, yeah, that might be one thing. But big picture, this is a good thing that the Warriors are in the situation they are now. What do I mean by that? I mean, the Warriors have won 4 championships in the last decade. How could it not be a good thing that Golden State is in the position that they are now? I mean, we've seen a historic run. Stephen Curry changing the game of basketball all while this is all going on, and Golden State wins 4 NBA championships. Now they find themselves in this kind of position where Stephen Curry's still on the roster. He's still leading the charge, but does the roster that he has around him really have a championship ceiling? That's yet to be known. I do think the Golden State Warriors can be a good team in the Western Conference this upcoming season. And so does Zach Lowe. Here's what he has to say about what he thinks the prospects of Golden State are this season. He said they're a good team. This is a good, deep team in the Western Conference. They can win a round. If things go right, they can even win 2 rounds. But they're not a contender. They're not dead yet. But it's going to take a home run lightning strike. That's a crazy term to get back toward the top. And he might be right. He might be right. With what Golden State has done this offseason, it hasn't necessarily transformed this team from play-in loser last year to championship contender this year. You lose Klay Thompson, who, he wasn't great, and he probably wasn't going to be a great second option moving forward, but a massive piece to the Golden State Warriors story over the past decade. Chris Paul, you lose him. It was a little bit of an experiment. You needed to get rid of Jordan Poole. You trade for Chris Paul, and he walks for nothing. Unfortunate situation there, but really no future with Chris Paul was going to be successful in Golden State. And then you bring in Buddy Hield and D'Anthony Melton to kind of quasi-replace Klay Thompson in the aggregate. Buddy Hield for the great shooting, and D'Anthony Melton for the defensive energy and offensive energy, that spark that you're going to get off of the bench. And then you bring in Kyle Henderson to kind of be that Draymond, not replacement, but guy who's going to give him rest, guy who's going to play that similar style and keep the Warriors offense nice and moving while Draymond Green is not on the floor. So with the roster that Golden State has set in place right now, yeah, I like the future aspect of it. I like the direction that Golden State is going in here. They haven't mortgaged any of their draft capital yet. They have 2 young ascending stars in Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga, but not much tradable assets on this roster that teams are going to be incentivized to send away star players for. Golden State has already said they're not going to trade Brandon Podziemski. They've already said they're not going to trade Jonathan Kuminga. So as far as making a big splash move, is the lightning strike even out there? Is a strike of lightning that comes down and hits the Golden State Warriors with a golden opportunity to go trade for a second star? Is that possibility still there? I don't think so. You missed on Lauri Markkanen. You missed on Paul George. Those are the two guys that you set out in stone to go get this offseason, to go be a championship contender. You didn't want to trade either Kuminga or Podziemski to go get them, so now you're left with a crop of players out there who might not even be available. Now, we know these two guys are available, Brandon Ingram and Zach LaVine. But as far as the rest of these guys, are they really being shopped? Is Jimmy Butler, who, in my opinion, is the player out of these five who gives the Warriors the best chance to reach contender status again, is he even available? Pat Riley said they're not trading him, and he's under contract. So are any of these guys going to potentially even be in a Warriors trade rumor that's legitimate anytime soon? I would say probably not. But at this point, Golden State is at ends with the ceiling that this roster can have. What's the solution? They hope that the lightning strike that they need to be a championship contender again is already in-house. And his name is Jonathan Kuminga. Now, look, just raw looking at these stats last year, you're not sitting here enthused or jacked up for Jonathan Kuminga to be this secondary star that's next to Steph Curry over the last couple of years of his career and can be a massive piece, a championship-altering piece on a Golden State Warriors roster. But these are good flashes. I mean, the guy didn't even play 30 minutes a game last year, and he's putting up 16 tonight. After he met with Steve Kerr about his playing time role, those numbers jumped up to about 20 points per night, and he was incredibly efficient from the field. Does need to improve upon that three-point shot, but we'll talk about what Jonathan Kuminga needs to improve upon in just a moment if he wants to be that lightning in a bottle that Golden State needs to remain a contender for the next couple of seasons. But I want to hear from you guys. How does Golden State reach contender status once again in the Western Conference? It's going to be tough. Minnesota, OKC, Dallas. There are a massive crowd. Denver's still up there. Even the Lakers are probably better than you at this point, with LeBron playing at the level that he is right now, and so is Anthony Davis. So it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a big jump from either a player they have on the roster now or a massive deal, a massive swing trade from Golden State. What makes the Golden State Warriors a contender again in the Western Conference? Let me know down in the comments section. And next, like I said, we're going to talk more about Jonathan Kuminga, how he could become the lightning that Golden State needs, and a contract update as he nears 2025 NBA free agency. But before we do, I got to give a huge shout out to our daily fantasy sports friend at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. Here's how it works. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just click more or less on their stat projections, and you can watch the winnings roll in. Real money, real time. In the month of September, every time Caleb Williams plays football, if he gets 1 passing yard, that gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week of the month. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free dubs. Don't miss this deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September ends. You can now also win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Now, the San Francisco 49ers, they play football tonight in Santa Clara. And I got 2 of them on my Prize Picks entry right here. Now, we went with Caleb Williams to get more than a half a passing yard this weekend. What a steal Prize Picks was offering. Obviously, he hit the more on that. Not by much, though. Caleb Williams, a little bit rough in his debut. But Brandon Ayuk, he just signed a massive deal to stay in San Fran. We need more than 54.5 receiving yards. And I think it's going to be a gritty, rough-it-up matchup with the Jets. And I think Jake Moody going to give me more than 1.5 field goals made. You can fade my picks. You can ride my picks. Just make sure you do it over at Prize Picks. Now, when you download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS, it's a crazy deal. You get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get you $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So use that code CLNS when you download the Prize Picks app. Get $50 instantly when you play 5. Prize Picks. Run your game. So Jonathan Kuminga, what does his contract look like for the 2025 NBA season or the 2025-26 NBA season and beyond? Per Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, we now know what Golden State might be willing to offer Jonathan Kuminga on a contract extension of 5 years at this point in time. Here's what Brett Siegel had to say. He said the Warriors will likely be looking to offer Jonathan Kuminga an extension in the ballpark of $140 to $155 million. That's a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. Let's just rip everything back for a second. That's a lot of money, and Jonathan Kuminga deserves a lot of money. Twitter heads, though, they're calling that an overpay. They're saying that Jonathan Kuminga, as for what he has done to this point for the Golden State Warriors, does not deserve that type of money, which is kind of crazy considering some of the money that other players around the NBA have gotten. But through his career so far, Jonathan Kuminga has improved pretty much every season. Now, has his role improved? Yes. Has his opportunity grown? Yes. But you want numbers to increase as those things do as well. So, and Jonathan Kuminga has done that. In his rookie year, he was solid, nothing great. In his second year, he actually improved a ton as a three-point shooter. And then last year, with a little bit more volume behind the three-point line, is where we really saw how poor of an outside shooter Jonathan Kuminga was. But you can't deny the improvements that he made from 22-23 to 23-24. Up in his points by 6 a night. And I can only see basically an identical improvement coming along this season in the scoring department for Jonathan Kuminga, because I think he's going to get a bigger role. Check out the numbers that he put up per 36 minutes a night last year. These numbers, and if you watched our channel before, we've thrown up a couple of season projections for Jonathan Kuminga. These numbers are eerily similar to what I believe Jonathan Kuminga will be putting up on a nightly basis this year. Also, no 21-year-old in NBA history has put up the marks that Jonathan Kuminga did per 36 minutes a night at 21 years old. Nobody has ever done it. Jonathan Kuminga is the only one. I know. Crazy. The numbers aren't insane, so I found that a little bit hard to believe. But Jonathan Kuminga is in a league of his own at the age that he is playing at. So, with that said, would you give Jonathan Kuminga $30+ million per season? That's what the Warriors look like they might be offering him, but right around the middle there, 140 is less than 30 million a season. 155, a little bit more than 35 million a season, or 30 million a season. Let me know what you guys think. How much would you offer Jonathan Kuminga on a contract extension? If you would offer more than 30 million, type Y for yes. If you would offer less, type N for no. And let me know why you would down in the comment section. Now we know Jonathan Kuminga is seeking a 5-year maximum contract extension worth $224 million plus. So if Golden State is willing to offer a $140 to $155 million, they're anywhere from $85 to $70 million off the mark from where Jonathan Kuminga wants to be. And if you stretch that over 5 years, that's like anywhere from $15 to $16 million a year. Or, 15 or so million dollars a year that Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors are apart on contract wants and choices. Now, who else gets $224 million extensions? Yes, Scotty Barnes, who was an all-star already. He's done enough to deserve that extension. Cade Cunningham was the number 1 overall pick. Detroit really didn't have anyone else to pay that kind of money. And Cade Cunningham, when he's been healthy, has shown flashes of being worth $224 million. Evan Mobley, a key piece on a Cavs playoff run. And he's shown that he could be an all-star level player. One of the best young rim protectors in this league, and has been able to stretch the floor a little bit. Franz Wagner, key piece on an Orlando Magic playoff run this year. So all of these guys have shown legitimate flashes of being franchise-level talents, so they've deserved this type of money. And I've even argued against Franz Wagner getting that bag. I've argued against Cade Cunningham getting that bag because he hasn't been too healthy yet. Jonathan Kuminga has been healthy, but just hasn't shown, in my opinion, the level of franchise carrying that the rest of these guys have so far early in their careers. Now, what does Jonathan Kuminga need to do to earn that big number, to be a guy who I'm comfortable giving $200+ million to? It's these things right here. Like I said, the outside jump shot, it's got to improve. We've seen Jonathan Kuminga in the gym all summer long, but time will only tell when it's time for October 23rd and the Warriors are starting their season playing real games against real NBA talent. Shot creation ability. I need to see Jonathan Kuminga to be able to put the ball on the deck and give me a little bit of a dribble move. Give me something in your bag that can create separation and get a step-back jumper off. I mean, all you know how to do right now if you're Jonathan Kuminga is put the ball on the ground, put your shoulder into a guy, and take him, curl him off when you're driving from the wing into the lane to put up an easy dunk. Like that's what Jonathan Kuminga has in his bag as far as off the dribble scoring goes right now. I need to see a little bit more as far as gaining separation and pulling up for a jumper. On-ball defense. This hasn't been the best overall defender, and for a guy with his stature who can guard multiple positions on the wing, I think that needs to improve. I think he needs to be one of the best on-ball defending wings at his age in the NBA if he deserves a $224 million contract. And then the glass cleaning frequency. Jonathan Kuminga is an elite athlete, and we all know this. But his hunger to attack the glass for big rebounding opportunities, it hasn't been there his entire career. And Golden State has wanted him to lean more into that aspect of his game during his entire career. He just hasn't done it yet. Maybe that's why they're so far away on a contract at this point. But as far as this offer that Golden State reportedly has out there, per Brett Siegel, just saying, I don't know if I believe him 100%, but 140 to 155 million. So according to Jonathan Kuminga, I would assume that's a low ball offer. And with the situation that he had with Steve Kerr last year about his role, about being frustrated as a member of the Golden State Warriors, you risk alienating him by throwing an offer out there that is $70 to $80 million less than what he's asking for. You risk alienating him. You risk him not wanting to be a part of this team's future. You risk him thinking to himself, hey, they really don't want me as bad as I think that I'm wanted here in Golden State. So as far as where they need to be on this contract talk, Golden State's probably got to go a little higher. Because in my opinion, what I would give Jonathan Kuminga as for what he's shown now and to pay him what he is in the future, 5 years, 175 feels very, very fair to me. I think it's a little bit in between what Jonathan Kuminga wants and what Golden State's willing to throw out there right now. I think it's very fair for the player that we've seen Jonathan Kuminga become to this point and what we think he can become for the Golden State Warriors as the last couple of years of Steph Curry's career come along. And that'll do it for today's edition of Golden State Warriors Today. If you have appreciated what we're talking about here in the dog days of September, as training camp is less than a month away, there is legitimately negative basketball news out there, but we're bringing you everything, every sliver of news that comes out about your Golden State Warriors. So make sure you hit that sub button. Stay with us. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go Dubs.